God darn, that's dirty. I'm gonna have to wash it later, but in the meantime, this is gonna be the quick steering wheel swap video because, oh man, I'm tired of seeing this. You know, I don't notice it when I'm driving, but what I really notice it is I really notice it in videos, and seeing this stock airbag steering wheel, especially since it's a generic airbag and it doesn't actually have a Mustang logo on it like it's supposed to. Yeah, I just gotta fix that. So first thing I'm gonna do here is turn the wheel. Wait, I have it turned right now. Good Lord. Hoi. Oh man, hold up. Yeah, it took two hands because with the angle kit, you have no leverage, and even though one tire is sitting on gravel, the other one's sitting on asphalt or concrete. So anyhow, all right. So there we go, stock wheel. First thing you do is, it's amazing that this car actually has little plugs back here, but first thing you gotta do is get the airbag out. Oh look, now normally there's an 8mm bolt in there, but some dummy put screws in there because, hey look, this side doesn't have the plug. What do you know? This car was purchased for cheap because I meant to make a drift car out of it, and it was a salvage title car, and so it's had some real fancy work done to it. The passenger side airbag is all air, no bag. Okay, so you just take these screws out. In my case, it screws. You should have an 8mm headed bolt or a 5/16 if you don't speak metric on each side that holds your airbag in. They use machine screws too. They're not even a threaded screw, like threaded like the actual thread pitch of whatever holds the airbag in. These are just straight up like run them in. So then once you do that, the airbag comes out. Now this one, I don't even know if it's any good. It's not plugged in. Airbag light was always on, but of course, you know, didn't care. So what you'd normally do is you'd unplug the airbag before you took it out, and then this is what's called the clock spring. You'll hear people talk about. Essentially, it allows electronic wiring to go from something stationary, which is your steering column, to the steering wheel. But I'm not running a horn, and I don't care about the clock spring, so I'm going to try installing it with and without. So two things. One, you can use a steering wheel puller. That's the easy, safe way of doing it. Or you can be a dummy like me and not use a steering wheel puller and just pull on it. And by pull on it, I mean pull on it with your hands. So first thing, okay, T50 Torx bit. That's what we're going to use to get the big bolt out of the middle of the steering wheel. See if I can do this one-handed here. Okay, let's see. Well, it's kind of one-handed. Ah, ooh, look at that. Yeah. Then what you're going to want to do is set the bolt off to the side to be reused later. Then you're going to want to unplug the plugs. This plug here for the cruise control, if your vehicle is so equipped. Bend that down. Oh, good lordy. Bend this guy down right here a little bit and pull it out. Yeah. So now both of these wires that come from the clock spring will just come through this hole when you pull the wheel off. All right, you ready for this? I'm going to give it a shot. Let's see. So I'm actually going to put the bolt back in the middle, just a couple threads, because if you don't do that, things are more exciting, but they're not the kind of exciting that you want. Then I'm going to grab the steering wheel on both sides and wiggle it and pull. Yeah. And then top and bottom, side to side. Yeah. Who needs a steering wheel puller? Not this guy. I got the guns. Woo! and you go ahead and finger thread the bolt back out of the middle, and look at that. No steering wheel puller needed. All right. Next up, I'll pull the clock spring, and let's see, this is a T20. I've never pulled one of these off before because I've never had a reason to, but I'm guessing it's these 3 screws right here. One interesting note on the SN95 Mustang is, well, you can see these arrows I think are meant to center the clock spring when you're installing one. Oh yeah, here you go. It gives you instructions right there, top, blah blah blah. But anyway, if you look, so I pulled the steering wheel out and it was level, and if you look at the hole in there, it's actually not centered like you'd think it would be. So you look here, and this is actually sitting in an angle, so you know, if you didn't pay attention, you would think that this flat and that flat and that flat all needed to be, like, you know, straight, not cockeyed like that. But this is actually how it is. Take a look. This is how it looks when the steering is centered. Oh, look at that. The sucker just pulls right off. Yeah, I don't have any covers on this, and man, this is kind of an ugly setup without any of the factory covers. Clock spring actually kind of added to the look of it, because at least it was like smooth, but whatever. Race car, we don't really care. This wire here is for the door, or for the key and ignition dinger, which doesn't currently make any noise, so it doesn't really matter. And then these are the clock springs. So the clock, of course it starts to work when I pull it out. I'm gonna go ahead and grab that hub adapter and see how it fits on here, and then we'll go from there. Now what I really want is an NRG short hub. This is the cheap drift car build. So in the spirit of keeping things cheap, I got this used Momo adapter, and it's a little offset too. If you look, this would be the top, so that's pretty close to centered. And it's interesting, it actually has a taper to it, and it's got a little thing that I think says top right here, but I'm not even going to pay attention to that because it doesn't matter except for where I want the steering wheel. Since this shaft that this sits on has 4 different flats on it, you'd think it'd be all the same, but the adapter only has 2 flats, so now the top is top. And then I take this beautiful used steering wheel that Tori Jelinek, shout out to TJ, gave me for free. If I put it on here, it's not level, right? It needs to be more like this, okay? But if I take this thing and I rotate it a quarter turn, that's a lot closer to level. And I think that this is actually going to be level because those arrows on the clock spring weren't quite lined up. So anyhow, so that's how it's going to work. Now this adapter actually is open. It's kind of an interesting design, and then it's got this sleeve that fits over it. And yeah, I'm not going to use that. I think it'll look kind of cool being open because, well, it's a race car, man. Everything's all open and doesn't have any covers on anything anymore anyway, so yep, keep it cheap, right? I just put the screws in here just to keep all my parts together. Okay. Normally I like to use torque specifications with a, you know, torque wrench on everything, but unfortunately I was not able to quickly find a torque spec for this. But you know, this is it's already Loctited, and you know, it's always going to be something I'll be looking at. I'll be able to see it, and if it starts to loosen up, I'll know I need to tighten it before it falls off, so I'm not really worried about it. Plus I was able to get it off with a 3/8 ratchet. You know, it's a medium length handle, but still not that much leverage. So once you get the adapter where you want it, tighten that sucker up good and tight. And you know, you're only going to get it so tight with a T50 anyway. So once that's on, all I got to do is put my steering wheel on and put the screws in. Okay, let's do it. There's your very small screws that hold the wheel on, so they don't need to be super tight. I mean, like wrist tight like this is good enough. You got 6 screws sharing the load, so I'll have a lot of torque. So I always do it in kind of a crisscross star pattern. Make sure you go back around and they're all snug. And boom. Look at that. It's all fancy, looking all sporty. Now just walk by. Do do do. Do do. Huh? Woo! Look at that wheel, man. Ah, so much cooler than the stock wheel. Hello. Thank you. Thank you, TJ, for the outstanding wheel. Loving it. Drift Rebels.